Battlefield returns with a new World War I installment, and let me get this out of the way. It's brilliant. Not brilliant as in it's a good game, kind of brilliant, but in an oh my god, this is real war kind of brilliant. Before I get into the game, let me elaborate more on that point. Battlefield 1 is the most brutal, chaotic, ruthless game I have played in a long time. Having not been in the First World War, I can only glean what I know from films, documentaries and museums, and Battlefield 1 is everything I believe that being involved in a war would be like. So, where to begin? Let's start with the main campaign. The campaign is told over the course of 6 war stories. Each story comes from a different perspective of war. The first story, for example, comes from a chauffeur turned tank driver and follows your exploits through the mud and blood of France. Each story has its own narrative being driven by cutscenes and objectives given to you. The cutscenes are seamless with the action, and at no point do you ever feel disjointed. A decision is made at one stage where I felt gutted that the decision could potentially lead ultimately to the character's demise. The action has a perfect balance of full-on mayhem and then quiet, sneaky sections. In particular, where your tank breaks down and you are required to find spark plugs to fix the problem. However, as you can imagine, the spark plugs are situated still in their engines, in a town that just happens to be occupied by German soldiers. So, as you go from building to building, taking out the odd soldier without making too much noise, picking up the spark plugs along the way, well, that was how it was meant to go. I went into a windmill, picked up a sniper rifle and started making way too much noise. The way that the game then descended into mayhem was perfect. The alarm was raised and soldiers started flowing towards my location. One soldier got onto an anti-tank gun and decided that the windmill didn't belong anymore, and it quickly had missing sides. Like I said, mayhem. So once you've played through enough of the campaign and want something a bit more easygoing, why not try out the multiplayer on one of its many modes? Who am I kidding? Online is much, much worse. So multiplayer sees the return of popular modes Conquest and Rush, along with Team Deathmatch and Domination, and with one very new mode, War Pigeons. Now, before you get excited, no, you cannot strap plastic explosive to pigeons and let them fly into the enemy base, although that would be very cool. In this game mode, it sees you get notified of a pigeon's location. Then your first job is to get to that location first and grab the pigeon. Once you have the pigeon, it gets harder. Essentially, you show up on the map for everyone to see. Yes, everyone. You have a radial bar that slowly fills up as you have possession of the pigeon. So, you have 2 options. 1, run like hell. 2, camp out in a building and hope your teammates are good enough to protect you. Once you have filled up the bar, you release the pigeon, and this calls in an artillery strike on the enemy positions. You do, however, have a split second of time to shoot down the pigeon as it's flying away. And then there is the operations mode, which sees you taking part in the biggest of all matches, and in some instances taking part over a number of maps. This sees you attacking and defending areas of a map to gain the advantage and push back your enemies. This is all-out warfare. Taking on your enemy has never been more intense. You have to follow orders and take specific defensive positions to push the opposing force back, and in turn you will have to defend those positions. Think Rush, but on a much, much bigger scale. Online, you can go to 9 locations from around the world, ranging from the deserts of Arabia to the Argonne forests in France, and pretty much in between. The maps are a great mix of close quarters with long sight lines for sniping opportunities. The interior battles through the ballroom blitz level are intense. Always take care to clear rooms before pushing on to the next one. As always, the online is best played as part of a squad. Tackling the battlefield on your own is a surefire way to die quickly and violently, sometimes with a bayonet straight to the chest. If you do end up in a squad, make sure that you add something to the squad, be it a medic who can revive fallen soldiers, or the support class. Dropping ammo packs to resupply everyone in the heat of battle is a godsend. The classes are generally the same from previous Battlefield games, with one difference. If you spawn straight into a tank, for example, you are immediately given the class of Tanker, which gives you a hammer for repairing your tank. Spawn straight into a plane and you were given the Pilot class, giving you access to pistol caliber carbines. Alternatively, find one of the new special classes dotted around the map and you can be turned into a walking death machine, be it from a flame trooper giving you a flamethrower, a sentry giving you a water-cooled automatic machine gun and plated armour, or the tank hunter with the 1918 tank aware. This weapon can take out particular sections of a tank, be its tracks or its gun mountings, and it can reduce a tank to rubble in a few well placed shots. Or alternatively, just form up a squad full of your own tank hunters using the assault class with its anti-tank rocket gadget, its anti-tank grenade gadget, and its light tank hand grenade is a force to be reckoned with, being able to disable a tank in around 2 anti-tank grenades. Add a second person with this class and you are an asset to any team on the battlefield. And that brings us nicely into the vehicles. Oh, the vehicles. The vehicles come in 2 main varieties, ground and air. In the ground variety you have tanks, motorcycles with sidecars, trucks and horses. Yep, jump on your valiant steed and ride them into battle. Be careful though, as your horse can take damage and be killed with you still riding it. Then up into the air, and we have 3 different classes of planes. The bomber, which is slow and cumbersome, but having high powered weapons at its disposal, it can take down enemies with ease. And then 2 lighter planes, the 2-seater scout biplane, allowing you to have a rear gunner, perfect for dogfights, and then the Red Baron's Fokker DR1 triplane. This is the fastest of the 3 and is the choice of people wanting to quickly get after other planes. Then we have the behemoths. These are great big gigantic vehicles new to this year's game, and they come in 3 types. A train. The train rides into town, and with it comes devastation due to its heavy weapons, and a fair few of them at that. If the train comes into town, you better start working as a team to take it out, otherwise it could be the end of the battle for you. A zeppelin. It casts a giant figure in the sky and you better start taking it down straight away, as it can rain heavy firepower from above and reduce buildings to rubble in no time at all. Be careful though when you finally do destroy it, as it comes crashing down wherever it wants and then leaves its scorching shell for you to fight amongst. Then finally the battleship. Well, what more is there to say? It's a battleship. Battlefield 1 has once again brought vivid warfare to a gaming console near you, and with it as near an experience as you will get at being on the front lines of World War I. Thank you, EA. Thank you.